Hi, welcome to the Dan Bradbury podcast, where turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. In this podcast, I'll bring you resources, tips, interviews, and lots more to help to grow your business and make it less dependent on you. Hey, I'm Dan Bradbury.
And I'm Topher Morrison.
And welcome to this special edition of the Dan Bradbury podcast.
Indeed, you know, it's funny, Dan, how as business owners, we tend to think that we're the ones with the ideas, right? But then you had somebody on your team, what I think it was like last week, say, hey, you should actually do a special edition podcast on the power of masterminds, which makes sense, right? Because like, you run a mastermind. I have a small one in the States. Nothing is nearly as complex as what you do. And like, we're both huge proponents of masterminds, but we've actually never talked about it as a topic, right? I mean, we allude to it when you have an event coming up. We certainly talk about that and do a little bit of a pitch, but we've never actually done a program on why masterminds are so powerful and why they work. We can talk specifically about why yours does, but we've done that interview in the past. But let's, I think the best way to do is kick this off a little bit in reverse order. And let's talk about our book of the week first instead of last, because I think it sets it up.
Yeah, I mean, our book of this week is an absolute classic, and it's Deep Work by Cal Newport. Deep Work by Cal Newport.
I love that book, man. Yeah. Actually, I love any book by Cal Newport. I read them all, and they are all just fantastic texts. But that was the first one I read. Is the one that just, like, every once in a while, right, you'll read a book that kind of shifts your paradigm about how you perceive the world. I think that was one of them. Anti-Fragile was another one that did that. But the concept, very basic and very simple, right? And then he spends the entire book giving you scientific academic data backing up why it's so powerful to get out of your environment if you want to create innovative thinking and cutting edge thought. And in fact, I've even got some quotes here. Let me see if I can find one.
Well, just
I'll let you talk about what you like.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, even if you haven't listened to this book, or read this book, you know the key concepts, which is effectively, for me, it's the fact that you need to be absorbed, you need to be committed, you need your brain focused on the function. In today's social media, everything's 6 seconds, 2 seconds, half a second, like all this crap and all this noise interferes with the quality of the work, and you need focus to be productive. And yet,
I feel like this is where we should do a TikTok dance.
Can I just say,
Wouldn't that be
I love the
weird if it's
just,
if we just cut to some stupid TikTok dance that you and I had done. Things you'll never see on the Dan Bradbury podcast. A TikTok dance with Dan.
What I love for the people that are only on audio is describe the guys where you are, because that is one hell of a backdrop you've got there. So the fact that you're talking about TikTok,
yes,
I'm bastardizing
trying
this
to feel
unbelievable backdrop.
Yes, I'm trying to feel very intelligent that I'm talking about TikTok. I am sitting in the hallowed halls of one of many libraries at Oxford University, and that's why I'm a little bit low on my voice, because I'm looking around going, okay, we're recording this for context, by the way. It's 7 a.m. on a Sunday, so I'm sitting here going, oh, students will never be awake at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. I'll use the library easy. And I'm telling you, the grounds are I think I've underestimated the ambition of an Oxford scholar, because they're already up at 7 a.m.
You've confused Oxford students with you as a student. So, but that was your mistake.
Maybe that's it. But by the way, having said that, one of the reasons why I'm here is because I want to get out of my environment to be able to think better things. I want to be able to have more clarity in my thought. And that's the power, I think, of what masterminds do, is they tap into that work of deep work, where it gets you out of your environment, gets you away from your distractions, all of those things. By the way, and Zoom masterminds, while are a kind of a part of society, I don't believe they count as much. I do not believe that Zoom is an effective tool to get out of your environment. It's a convenient tool, but it's not an effective one, in my opinion.
Well, there's research to back this up. In fact, there's research to back this up that's coming out in a stunning new book that will be published early in the new year, Topher. The latest edition.
You just threw it out there, by the way. You put a quarter on it now. It's got to be at least Q1 or Q2 next year, by the way. You may have just screwed yourself.
I just delayed it by a quarter in my mind. So, specifically talking about what gets lost and the type of topics that what can be delivered and communicated over Zoom, and what's more effective in Mastermind, and the nuances of Mastermind. Because fundamentally, everyone knows that the Napoleon Hill, the premise of you put two minds together and you get a third mastermind that's greater than the sum of its parts, over the top.
Yes.
But there's so much nuance that's to be found from nonverbal cues and body language, which you just don't get on Zoom. And there's hard data now to back it up, because that's one of the things that I wanted to prove. Not prove. I wanted to figure out what was optimal, what created the best environment for change and learning. And there's hard evidence that now proves that face-to-face is, despite the pandemic, there's value in Zoom, but there's no substitute for face-to-face in terms of quality of delivery.
Yep, absolutely. I found one of my favorite quotes, and my phone just scrolled, so I just lost it. Let's see if I can find it again. To learn, this is a quote from the book Deep Work. To learn hard things quickly, you must focus intensely without distraction. And I think that sums up a mastermind so well, right? Because it gets you away from all your business distractions, but it puts that concentrated effort, like you're talking about, where you have more than one mind and you create this mastermind to come to speed to solution just happens so much faster when you have so many people doing that. Now, and you, by the way, we could talk about if we wanted to follow our normal segment, we'd have news of the week. And the news of the week, of course, is that your mastermind is coming up in December of this year. We're recording this. If you're listening to it past tense, by the way, Dan runs masterminds every quarter. So even if you've already missed the one that you're listening to on this one, there's always another one. But this one specifically, I thought it'd be fun if we talked about some of the content that we're talking about at the mastermind as not as a teaser per se, although as a teaser, but also just as a way to kind of get the listeners and the viewers thinking about what kind of content they should be thinking about in their business. So should we talk about content, or should we talk about guests? Because that's one of the most exciting parts of the content, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think we should go straight in with guests, because I've got to say, to the reason why Chad and our team kind of nudged to do this podcast is because we don't shout about things like this enough. I mean, I've done masterminds such as this at least quarterly for now over 15 years. And I, hands down, am more excited about this guest than anybody we've ever had in our mastermind. And we've had some absolute legends. So this is spectacular. This is spectacular.
I'm excited too, brother. By the way, and this is in your new segment called Dan's Best Kept Secrets. And by the way, for those of you listening and watching, we're going to keep it a secret. And there's reason for that. The special guest that we have coming into the mastermind has asked specifically that we do not promote it on social media. We want to honor that. The only people who know who the person actually is are clients that are in the mastermind already, or perhaps maybe people like who have called in to discuss the mastermind with Gabriella, and we've built that level of trust with them to where she can share who it is. So we're not publicly saying who it is, but it's pretty impressive.
Let me just go to the bio, right? Because a lot of people use the whole mystery speaker thing as some kind of like marketing pitch when the
which is almost always BS, because it just means they haven't signed a contract with somebody they're trying to get.
But just look at this guy's bio, right? So what we can say, what we do have permission to say. So at age 26, one of his companies was making over $3 billion. Hear that right? That's billion with a B, not with an M. Billion with a B annually in annual revenues. Another one of his companies is the third.
And he was, by the way, he was the top. I think he was the top in the top 10 wealthiest people under 30 in his country as well.
I can definitely imagine that. It was, but another one of his companies, because he's got many, is the third largest in the world in its sector, selling products B2C in over 50 countries. His group of countries have assets well in excess of 10 billion. When I first found out, I thought it might be 10 billion on the nose, but it's this is. He's the largest shareholder, because I once heard somebody describe himself as having assets of umpteen million, but all it meant was they bought one share in Apple or Amazon.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a company with billions and billions in assets, and he's the largest shareholder. And ultimately, he's going to be our next Success Mastermind on the 6th and 7th of December.
I don't know if you know this, by the way. Do you know that he owns 80% of all Uber business in one of his countries that he operates his business out of? So Uber operates differently in different countries. So like in America, it's just a bunch of independent contractors. In other countries, they're employees. His company employs 80% of all of the drivers for Uber in this one country. In fact, he's trying to sell it right now. So by the time he attends, he might have a really cool story he can come up with us. It's insane. This guy's and by the way, this is we're going to be doing a Q&A with this guy, right? So anybody who attends your mastermind can ask this dude direct firsthand questions, and he's already said quite comfortably that he's happy to talk about anything.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I mean, and what I love
yeah,
is, I suppose you get a degree of awareness over time, but the wealthier people get, they don't get more douchey. They get cooler. Like the fact that effectively we just went, hey, Mr. Billionaire, will you come
yeah.
along and speak to our mastermind? And it's like, when is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, sure, I'll
his
come along.
his two criteria were just tell me when and tell me where there's a helipad so I can land. Right? Like those were that's it. That's all he cares. Just is there a
I do
helipad
love it.
nearby?
I do
Yeah.
love, yeah. My team's in a panic trying to find a helipad so we can fly in, and it's like, do you know what? I've had more drama from speakers that have had a £1,500 keynote fee than
Yeah, yeah,
so.
and this guy's
Uh,
just
uh,
so chill. Yeah.
uh,
By the
uh,
way, imagine this. So for anybody considering attending, oh, by the way, should say by the way, we are not unlike most of your sessions, which we record as
oh yeah,
because of some geopolitical concerns. This will not be recorded either. So the only way you can get to interview this guy and meet him face to face is to attend your mastermind in December up in Warwick conferences. Um, uh, Imagine this, by the way, Dan. Like, as business owners, we always take the brunt of the hit, most of the time for our business because we pissed off an employee that we had to let go and they want to attack us publicly, or we've done something stupid ourselves and came up with a campaign that backfired in the public, right? So we've all, to some degree, had to deal with some image issues or branding issues. Could you imagine this, right? Could you imagine being the leader of your country, being public enemy number one, to where that political figurehead goes out of his way to not just ruin you, but your entire family, your legacy, and your name? I mean, talk about putting in perspective like the stressors that we deal with as business owners. You'll hear this guy's story and the stuff that he's gone through, and you're going to go, I think I'll think about that the next time I'm worried about somebody pissed off because I had a tweet that didn't go over well, right? It's just
right,
crazy. Yeah.
right. On my TikTok video didn't get the views.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
let's
no.
talk. Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say I love it, and so less than 100 people like getting your questions answered. Like, I just it's
Oh,
an
yeah.
immense privilege. I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
100%. You're not going to attend this and not have a chance to get your questions answered. It's very intimate. Yeah, that's the whole point of a mastermind. We also have some really cool topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about trend analysis, which I think is something that entrepreneurs need
It
to be
doesn't
learning a
normally
bit
go in a
more about.
sentence. It doesn't go normally go in a sentence with the word "cool" and trend analysis. So we probably should quantify what
True, true.
quantify why this is so potent. I mean, for me, this separates the wheat from the chaff. This is the little boys and girls and the players.
Hmm.
Smaller businesses tend to go on gut instinct. As soon as you get
Yes.
into much more established businesses, these guys are all using trend analysis. Like if you look at the FTSE 100 or even 250,
Oh,
like these
yeah.
guys are in-depth analysts looking at their trends because it allows them to see where the puck is going, right? And it allows them to make
Mhm.
decisions in advance rather than waiting until they have a catastrophic month, quarter, or year and then changing strategy. So
Yeah.
we're going to show guys how to take this what most people deem as very complex task and show you how to apply it immediately to your small business.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a direct relationship to the level of revenue a company produces to how much data they use for making decisions. Uh, it, it's almost there's nothing in statistics a straight line perfectly, but if there was one, this is probably it. The more you use your intuition, the less you make. The more you use data, the more you make. And yes, there's always exceptions. But by the way, in fact, tease me a little bit with it. Give me what are some of the initial components that are required in order for and by the way, maybe we should talk about the difference because I think when people hear trend analysis, they may also tend to mistake that for data analytics. And that's not what we're talking about here. By the way, the more revenue they make, the more they hire data scientists to use data analytics. But there's this delicate balance, right, that a small business owner has to have, right? We know that intuition isn't as effective, but we may not have the budget to hire a data scientist to mine all of our deep data and go through analytics. But trend analysis, that kind of that happy cross in between, provided you have three important things, right?
Right. I mean, and the first, and with a caveat of some people find even when I mention this, there's a tendency to switch off. I kind of go, I don't know how to do this. That's the point. That's the point of being in the room, so we can uncover and show you how to make this simple.
To learn hard things quickly, you must be void of distraction. Yeah.
Right. Well, exactly. And the first one is the data's got to be clean, right? There's got to be clean data that you can get, and a lot of business owners, that's where immediately they go, okay, well, I don't know how to do that, so I'm out.
Yeah. By the way, see, that's the power of the mastermind, right? Because now we're going to have 70 some odd business owners all sharing best practices for how they make sure that their data is clean to where they can use it effectively. It's like you can't get that kind of sourcing of great information from anything else other than, in my opinion, a mastermind.
Right. And now I'm laughing. I'm looking at my notes. It's early on those in the morning. Number 2 has jumped out my head, Topher. So you're going to need to help me out.
The data has to be sufficient, right? So not only does it have to be clean, but if you only have 10 data points,
right,
you're not looking at a trend there, right? You're still, it's like, you can see, if you're looking at it from an analytics perspective, right? The odds of flipping a coin and getting heads is 50%, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to get it half the time if you flip it twice. In fact, oddly enough, odds are you're going to have 2 tails or 2 heads if you flip it twice, not 1 head and 1 tail. The only time you actually get that definitive 50% of the times it was heads and 50% of the times it was tails is if you flip that coin hundreds of thousands of times, right? Because then you have more relevant data to get that average from.
Right. Well, and here's the point. Sometimes when people first use data or uncover that they can use their own company's data to make decisions, they get really excited and carried away, and then they make all kinds of erroneous decisions because they see that one spike or that one trough, and they go, "Oh my god, my ads aren't working," being an obvious place that shows up because something weird happens, like right around this time of year, as we go into the kind of the Christmas period, especially around Black Friday, your ads, the money that you're paying for your ads is going to be thrown all off, not because of anything inside of your campaign, but because of the marketplace goes crazy. Retail and e-commerce goes crazy over Black Friday, so you have to disregard that data, which is well, I've now conflated the two. So you've got to have clean data. It's got to be sufficient, but it's also got to be relevant, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's what you're talking about, right? Like if you're looking at a holiday spike and going, "Oh my gosh," well, but that's not relevant in spring. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so we're going to go through specifically how to identify cleanliness, relevancy, and sufficiency.
Yeah, but ultimately, just to try and hook those people back in that pondering about this, you're going to see things inside your own business. Out of this session, you're going to see things inside of your own business, which will give you insights and make it much more obvious about what to do. So you're not going by gut feel, but actually go, "Holy crap!" I love it when. One of my favorite things in mastermind sessions is when you get a client that comes in with a preconceived idea and they're thinking it's all one which way. And then we look at the data and we analyze the numbers using the criteria that we've just mentioned. And all of a sudden, you see the penny drop. And it's like, holy shit. Like,
it's like
it's not X, it's not X. It's the opposite.
Wait a minute, who is it? Yeah, they become They become Neo in the Matrix when they finally get plugged in and they start realizing, oh, all those little green vertical numbers mean something.
Right. That's exactly it.
Are we
Um,
overpromising that they're going to feel like Neo from the Matrix after 2 days? Are we maybe overshooting this a bit?
no,
Okay.
get guaranteed. We're gonna give them a pill, red pill or the blue pill. I feel the need to disclaim. I can hear my lawyer screaming in my ear, not literally. Yeah, it's not
Yes.
in his
Yes.
earpiece. Yeah, that there are no drugs going to be administered, or yeah, you transform yourself
Other
into
than
Neo in the Matrix.
champagne, we'll be doling that out in the evening dinner, right?
Yeah. Oh
Did I?
yeah. I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
ang-
Did I just?
annual
Did I just?
awards.
I was gonna say. Well, I'm hoping there's champagne there, or did I just increase your party budget by another
Yeah,
thousand
thanks.
dollars?
Thanks. Yeah, so American champagne that Topher's brought over. No, so
Yes.
yeah, it's our annual awards where we we do have Topher, and again, this is where Chad was nudging me that we have some of the fastest growing small businesses in the UK.
Yes.
People on the
Yeah.
Sunday Times Fast Track 100 list, etc., and some real achievers. And so it's our annual
Yeah.
awards ceremony where we're giving out a number of different awards in different categories: revenue growth, profit growth, increased cash flow. Um, uh, I forget all the titles, but the number of employees hired. So
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah. It's
a
gonna be a cool
spectacular
evening. Yeah.
evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really part of the mastermind, but definitely a part of the mastermind for sure. When you have
Yeah,
effective
it is
data.
though.
Oh yes.
Yeah, actually,
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
trying
it's
to get us
being a
looking
part of
down.
it. Yeah.
People are going to be more interested maybe in the alcohol fuel party, but Topher, the number of times as well that the session's the session, the deep work. But
Yeah.
one of the primary reasons I love being face to face rather than on Zoom is the second you're if you're on Zoom, the second you're done with the session, you leave, you switch off, you're
You're off.
done. Whereas your unconscious can, your subconscious mind can go to work, and the number of people that day one they'll have a great session and they'll go out, but they'll have the epiphany in the bar
Hmm.
or at dinner
Yeah.
that night, because not even necessarily that they're talking about work, albeit that can be one. It just it percolates, and you just being
Yeah.
in that environment, it allows
Yeah.
the ideas to germinate.
Yeah, that's true. I stand corrected. It is definitely a major part of the mastermind. All right. Let's move on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Called profit pools, right? Because once you learn how to identify trend analysis, then you can go into. I wouldn't say it's a little known concept, but I'd say it's a little practice concept in small business. This tends to be something that maybe your Fortune 500 or your FTSE 100s are going to be doing. They'll be using profit pools. Let's talk a little bit about why a small business owner would even want to know about what a profit pool and what it is.
Yeah, well, the ultimately most small business owners, because you don't want to be like most small business owners, because most small business owners are flat out broke, right? The
Yeah.
stats are 94% never even make to seven-figure revenue, let alone seven-figure profit. So to get to those kind of levels, which people, some people, not all, but some people in our group are achieving those kind of numbers, it takes different levels of skill, and we borrow or we learn from some of these big companies what they do, and specifically it's where are you making your money, how profitable are you. So most small businesses don't know how profitable they are by individual product lines. Well, probably
Yeah.
best given by a simple analogy that most people are familiar with. Where do restaurants make their money? And
Yeah.
if you go to a mid-level or even high level restaurant, what items are they making their money on? And most people have
The
heard
booze.
that it's not on the food, it's on the alcohol. Correct, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
absolutely right. So as soon as you dive into, okay, if you're the owner of a restaurant that's got mediocre or unsatisfactory profitability, how do
Yeah.
you boost that profitability? And if you were as soon as you're aware that it's the alcohol, then you can clearly tee together certain meals and certain narrative, the sales process to
Yes.
optimize
Hmm.
the sales of alcohol. But most small businesses never do this, Topher, and they miss out on all the upside. They do all the hard work.
Yeah.
They metaphorically make the meals, which is the
Yeah.
brunt of the effort and the work, and talk about how great the meals are and the ingredients, when that's not where they're making the money. And
Yeah.
so profit pools is about understanding how to analyze your business, about where is the money actually being made, and then how to turn it into a strategy that drives profitability while still delivering huge customer satisfaction.
Yeah. I think that's the key right there, right? It's like once you understand where the profit pools are in your business, it gives you the data you need in order to make intelligent, strategic marketing decisions versus, you know what I think our customers would want? XYZ, right? The moment a business owner starts saying think and hope and wonder and my gut feeling, they're usually probably taking a bigger risk than they should be. And profit pools are a definitive way to just immediately know where your margins are at. Yeah.
Right. And people, and it feeds into everything, right? I like a different analogy would be um, people that fly economy. There's nothing wrong with flying economy, but people that fly economy are attracted. How they decide which airline to fly with is going to be different than people that choose to fly business class or first class. And and yet the marketing that will attract those types of customers is very different. And British Airways makes more money, not per passenger in first class than economy, but per square foot of cabin space. Right?
Interesting.
It is significantly greater in first class. So and yet over a lot of people listening to this, or if they're not doing it, they're aware of somebody that's doing it. They think they're a first class business, but their marketing is just going to attract them economy customers. So their marketing, they're in the wrong profit pool. They are marketing the products and they're attracting the customers that want the least profitable type of things.
Interesting.
Because by the way, who do you think, just sticking with the airline analogy, who do you think spends the most on what do you call it? The in-flight purchases, economy passengers or first class passengers? It's kind of obvious, right?
Purchase?
They spend
the
most money in the flight. Well,
Look, dude, just because I have books behind me doesn't make me smart. So no, I don't know this answer, and I resent you for making me feel dumb in an environment where I'm so smart feeling.
Well, actually, you just remind me of a particularly childish story, but I'll tell you because you bring that out of me. I remember, Topher, it must be 10 plus years ago. I don't know how long. And it was one of the things when I was just starting to make a little bit of money. And there was a low price upgrade available.
To be fair, a little bit of money for you is different than most people's definition of
well, that's fair.
Money. But continue.
Anyway, I was flying to the US, and I was flying economy or premium economy. And on check-in, for some reason, I asked, or they were offering a discounted to bump up to business. Right.
Yeah.
And I got this bump up to business, and I was thrilled because I don't remember how much it was, but it was only X rather than Y. And so I'd saved £500. So literally I was so chuffed because it was one of my first ever times in business, and I'm on the seat, and before the plane had even taken off, I'd spent nearly £1,000 on crap. I bought a Mont Blanc pen. I bought. Right, because in my mind, I'm now a business class passenger. I can't write with a biro. I mean, who writes with a biro?
That's hilarious. So you opened up the catalog on the plane and just started spending.
Yes.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, and again, it ties into it connects to. It's not the same thing, but it connects close to the thing of profit pools. And most business owners, so far, the number of times we've done profit pool analysis with some mastermind members. I can name numerous times where people have figured out that significant parts, in one case I'm thinking of, over half their business wasn't actually net making any money.
Wow.
And actually they make more profit if they shut down this half of the business and just double and just maintained on the other side, let alone the fact that they'd have the resources to be able to grow it. And people, you might be listening to this going, no, I know my business better than that. I assure you, this was a multi-7-figure switched on individual. But as soon as we did this particular analysis this way, because he'd abdicated to his accountant, he just said, oh, I know my business. It was gut feel, Topher, coming back to the earlier point.
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
So
awesome.
It's going to be special.
All right, man.
You're going to know.
Yeah, let's...
I've just hit my stride, hoping you shut me up now. I was going to say, you're going to understand more about your business from this 2-day mastermind, and you're going to be in the presence of greatness, and there'll be a billionaire there as well.
I was waiting for you to say, and we're bringing Topher along for amusement.
Damn it, that was funnier. Can we sort that out in the edit?
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it, brother. You see this. I've got better comebacks because I'm in a stately library that makes me feel witty. All right.
Anyway, on that note, let's wrap this up.
Let's talk about your mastermind. It's coming up December. I want to say 5th and 6th, but I don't think that's right.
6th and 7th. 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th. Yes. Yeah. There we go. See, in my brain, because I want to fly out on the 5th. So yeah. So that's coming up December 6th and 7th. It's going to be at Warwick Conferences. It's 2 days. Starts at around 9. Gets done around 5. On that first night, on the 6th, we have a great dinner. All inclusive, and we're also going to have our end of the year business awards and acknowledge some of the greatest clients that you've got producing some amazing results. We've got our special guest, Dan's best kept secret, coming out, and if you want to know more about him, you just reach out to Dan Bradbury Limited and speak with Gabriella, and I'll leave it up to her whether or not she wants to share with you who it is. So I'm looking forward to it, my friend. I can't wait to see you again. And December 6th and 7th, Success Mastermind. Be there.
Yeah, we're going to rock it.
Oh, wait, we didn't do quote of the week. Should we do quote of the week?
Yeah, why not? By another gentleman who's legendary for his mastermind. In fact, he runs some epic masterminds on Necker Island. So today's quote of the week is by Sir Richard Branson. And he says, 2 heads are definitely better than one. And by brainstorming as a team and sourcing ideas from each other, you have a better chance of coming up with a strategy that will allow your business to overcome a setback or challenge. Admittedly, it's not the most punchy. It's not the most punchy quote of the week, but it's true. Richard Branson, 2 heads better than one. Getting your team together, brainstorming, you're infinitely more likely to overcome setbacks.
All right, my friend, take us out.
All right. Well, as always, the theme of this episode and the theme of every episode, if you want a better business, you need to be a better business owner. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed that episode. 3 things you need to do now. Number 1, make sure you subscribe to this podcast so you do not miss an episode. Also, get on over to Amazon to get a copy of my latest book, Turnover is Vanity, Profit is Sanity, 9.5 steps to improving your profits and cash flow. Also, join our Facebook group, the Turnover is Vanity, Profit is Sanity community, to connect with other business owners.